the person was a target, but really I was trying to find out what's behind it. What's the process behind what this person does? So what does this person do? So I read a book a while back. It was called Arigó, Surgeon of the Rusty Knife. And it was the amazing story of the Brazilian peasant who slashed his patients with rusty knives, used no anesthetics, had no medical training, yet confounded the world with thousands of miraculous cures. So this was a pretty famous story of a person who was like a spiritual or mediumistic healer in Brazil. So, yeah, he was born in 1918 and he died in 1971. He was a Brazilian mediumistic healer. He had the apparent ability to make instant diagnoses. He performed surgery without anesthetic, and usually there was like little to no bleeding and no pain. He was observed by doctors to successfully treat patients that were deemed incurable. Many of them had inoperable cancers and other serious health conditions.
Sense of like being in an observatory, really quiet. You could hear a pin drop, and the person loves or lives for what they're doing. The individual is calculating, counting, applied science is very intelligent, either open air, very large space and location. And then I see a crowded room. One person is walking through being recognized for achievement and celebrated. And I'm wondering, is this a formal ceremony? Everyone is well dressed, and it seemed to like maybe worship the person who has achieved a high status within the group. Prominent person hosting the event seems to have earned recognition in a place in history for work accomplishment and dedication.
Oh yeah, so thanks for that, Derek. I tried to put it all together in the end, so hopefully we can get some closure by the end of this. Who's up next?
Then I saw a flash of light that was really bright and really quick, but really cool target, Naeem. Looking forward to seeing what the rest of the team has.
I have some stuff that correlates to some of Sean's stuff. So, would you mind if I go next?
Sure.
I saw this weird man with these dots on his face. Weird for a visit to be detailed, and this fuzzy ball of light, kind of like what Sean was getting there. And then I saw this, and when you said his eyes glaze over, I saw these grayish eyes on this guy over here as he's looking to the side, and these rusted tools.
Thanks, Jonathan. Who do we have next?
I'll go. All right. Interesting, very interesting stuff so far. This kind of looks like that knife, the guy had here. But I was getting some of these ideas here, reformed or rearranged and removed and all that kind of stuff.
When Naeem showed the cover of that book, it looked like an obelisk and like a light above it. So what you're showing there looks like exactly the cover of that book.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you drew
Oh,
the
look at
freaking
that.
picture on the book, man. That's awesome.
Wow, that's kind of wild. Nice catch. And that was kind of interesting. What kind of generator would that possibly be? And they were in the spectrums of light and radio was where this was coming from. It reminded me of the Schumann resonance, something happening within some quote unquote frequencies or bandwidths. It's narrow and within a spectrum. So it was kind of going through somebody like that. And it was really, really pretty interesting to me. There's a strange sensation to it, and it feels exotic or alien or both. Frequencies of light moving through, even a bit of particle acceleration, like it would stream through a human hand like that, or even through a body like this one, within the bandwidth of the light spectrum going through these people's bodies. And that was it, man. I don't know what the hell else to do after that.
Thanks, Edward. Yeah, I thought that was some interesting stuff in there for sure. I mean, the idea of a driving force moving someone around, and radio waves, and they call it channeling. So it just kind of made me think, maybe what's really behind all that.
Well, I have to
that can
kind of
control a
wonder.
person.
Yeah, totally. And like in those videos you were showing, where the guy's sticking a knife in the guy's eye, he's cutting a tumor off of a dude's head. Pulls a tumor out of the guy's elbow in 5 seconds. If that really happened, could that possibly happen there must be something happening on a cellular level within the human body to, if it's real, to allow that to happen. Where if he's cutting somebody open with a knife, and then suddenly the body closes up, the wound heals in a few seconds, you know, that's some type of weird cellular manipulation of some sort, if it actually happened, I would imagine.
Yeah, according to, you can watch videos online of this Dr. Fritz character talking, and I mentioned earlier, he claims that it's like some kind of astral energy body is being affected during the surgery. Yeah, so
interesting. Yeah, pretty interesting stuff. Interesting target, dude.
Thanks. Who's up next?
So, okay, we're fiddling with some strong stuff here. This is exactly what, was it Sean, you had the bright flash? And they think the doctor died in an explosion. So I get yellow strands of excited energy that are dynamic. Some advanced physics properties. They dance and modulate and pulse, a harmony of movement, harmonic overtones. There's a person in an environment, a field, electromagnetic, it affects him, and he affects it. Human in an energy field. This is being monitored. His shape seems to change. His mass fluctuates. It's difficult for me to follow him. Vibrational states, EMF energy. A person in a plasma. I would not say this is beneficial to him. Feels experimental. This is high energy. He's brave. He faces this with courage. So, yeah. I was there with him for a minute on the table doing something to somebody. And I did get a feel of esoteric energy flowing through him. So,
yeah, that was some good moments in there. Oh, got more to show in the analysis there. So let's wrap it up with Daz.
Okay, I did 2 sessions on this. I didn't think the first one was that good at first, but I'll show you a few snippets from it because it started off with an energetic feel, but then I kept getting all this data that was very military and European feeling to it. So, yeah. So anyway, I'll run through the first one pretty fast. So here's the energetic data. Lots of this swirling energy. So yeah, energy here, an effervescent type of energy, which was cyclic. Felt like it had many smaller parts moving in concert. It had a flow and a dance to it, like a universal pattern to the way the energy moved. I tried kind of drawing it here in microscopic kind of form and showing the movement of it here. So almost microscopic particles moving, swirling in dense masses. Felt like a momentum much larger than the single thing. Felt like it was like an elemental type of energy. The energy again was fluid with a momentum. It feels very intangible, like a hidden force feel to it, like a universal constant. And I wrote here a note that was weirdly, this is a feel of time and gravity to it. It's like super large universal forces being involved or influencing the target. And I kept seeing this almost like, I don't know, strings. I kept seeing these strings that felt like they were being manipulated and they were vibrating. So I kept seeing these vibrating strings, but this all felt at a very kind of non-physical, kind of really weird quantum type level of looking at things. Weirdly, some interesting data that kind of indicates that there is some kind of psychic energy, but at the same time, I felt like there was a deception by a psychic going on.
Yeah, that was really interesting. There was a part where you said, this is like when you said move to the main aspect, you described the male, and then you said it's like I'm seeing a process of something instead. I mean, I thought that was pretty on target because the tasking is to how this thing was done, not really the person himself.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought there were some really good moments in there. I'll pull up my analysis here. I just put together a bunch of the parts that I thought were interesting and some of the overlaps between the data, and I'll try to chime in here and there on what I think about it. So yeah, what kind of data would we end up seeing? Well, here we go. Energy interaction type data. Some of these things.
Who had heard about this guy? I had never heard of him until today's. I'd never heard of him.
I've heard of some of those
surgeon.
guys, they think that one guy, they called him out as a fake. He had like chicken guts in his hand and he was doing this whole thing and, saying, there it is, I pulled out the illness or whatever.
I've heard of that being done in the Philippines, but I'd never heard of this.
I never
mean,
heard of this guy. This was
Ar-
back in the 60s or something.
Arrigo's pretty high profile. Like
Yep.
he was well known in the play. And like I said, he did hundreds of people on a daily basis.
Yeah.
He treated more people than like the local university's medical campus did. And like I said, one of the interesting things is there's doctors now still doing this kind of thing under the same, Dr. Fritz kind of functioning. So you can see a lot better videos online.
The really interesting thing is the collaboration there of Puterich as well, because he's the guy that also found Geller.
Yeah.
And he's also very involved with alleged MK Ultra stuff and all kinds of other stuff in the US.